We are just delighted to have you. And I understand you are at the busiest possible point in your life that we've pounced in on you. So we doubly appreciate the effort that you've taken to be with us. I haven't met you before, but I did take the opportunity to take a look at your website.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very interested in the story that you tell briefly there about especially your work with the things you sort of collect to make your art out of, not terribly valuable things on their own,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of
Mm-hmm.
remnants of your life, I guess, tickets, receipts, shopping bags, etc.
Yes.
And your website indicates that that you sort of take those to represent the capitalist society that we live in here in America, especially.
Right, right.
And that you've taken a look at it in the context of the changing global economy.
Yes.
Of course, you have a different perspective than many of us, having gotten your degree in Korean, I'm guessing raised there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you another perspective on life here, which I think we all need a lot more of, and will be very refreshing to hear more about, especially our value system as it comes to consumerism.
Yes.
And I was also interested to see that your process seems to be very laborious, time consuming, the stitching.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yes, right.
It takes such a great amount of time, and that apparently that's part of what you value about doing it. So the other thing I'm tremendously impressed with is the energy it must take you to be in all the places you've been in terms of showing your work, having solo exhibits, being parts of group exhibits, even all through the pandemic. There seems to be no rest in your resume. So I'm sorry to see that I missed the opportunity to see you when you showed in Islip. I think you showed at the Islip Museum.
Yes.
And hopefully you'll show back out this way again. So we'll get a chance in person. But I'd like to let you get started with your presentation, and you can cue Nancy and Lauren when you want your slides or your video. And as Lauren said, we'll save our questions till the end. But I just can't tell you enough how grateful we are that you've taken the time, especially having a chance to look at your work online and just see how fantastically unique it is. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Wow. It is really honor to me to meet you guys. Actually, I was not a artist. I really want to be an artist. I really interested in art world, but it's hard to get into art world as a ordinary people. But finally, I got a chance to meet. I got a chance to regard as an artist. It is quite amazing thing to me. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm very, very glad to meet you. I want to thank you, Linda, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. My name is Kyu Kim. I'm a fashion designer and fiber and multimedia artist. I moved to the US in 2007, and I lived in New Jersey for 14 years, but recently I moved to LA, California for my new job. I'm a full-time fashion designer for young men's streetwear. Currently, I'm creating a new men's denim brand in LA. So Nancy, can you start? I was born in 1975, Seosan, South Korea, which is a very small village in South Korea. It's kind of about 2 hours away from Seoul. Do you know Seoul, capital of South Korea? Yeah, at the time in 1975, my hometown is really, really small. It's a rural area. So I want to tell you about my background a little bit. Like I was born in 1975 and grew up in the 80s and the 90s in a very small village in South Korea. It was my dream to live and work in America since I was a teenager. American fashion and pop culture was huge at that time. Luckily, I got a job in the US and moved to the US in 2007. So this is, you can see my, present the PPT, and this is my job as a fashion designer. So I want to show some a little bit about my background. I create denims and t-shirts and jackets for young men's. Yeah, that is my daily job. And so I have collected all my receipts, tickets, and other materials after moving in the US in 2007. I cannot explain the reason exactly. I didn't have any plan to do with them. I just keep them for maybe my memory. I start to showcase my art in 2013, mostly drawing and painting. I love to go to museums and galleries, and I was very, very interested in the art world, but I don't know how to get into the world. I realized that I need to change my medium because I'm not that good painting and drawing. So in 2017, I started to quilt my receipt and Swiffer together with needles and thread for my art because I'm a fashion designer. So I know about fabric and textile, needle and sewing. So that's why in 2017, I started to like quilt like with my hand. So
oh, those are beautiful.
Actually, my main inspiration for my art is the Korean traditional craft Jogakbo. I believe that some of you are already familiar with that form. It is made of scraps from hanbok making. I quilt and stitched the paper receipts and Swiffer together by hand. I really like the concept of recycling and making something special from trivial things. I only use hand stitches so far. One reason I don't use a sewing machine is that I feel freer to use my hand. And of course, my material paper receipts are fragile to use a machine. My technique is very simple, only running stitch. So on your left, I got the image from Google. That is traditional Korean craft Jogakbo. And on your right is my artwork. I made with, I created with my paper receipts. Oh, I want to tell you about thing, you know the Bojagi? Bojagi is kind of a bigger concept. Wrapping clothes is all Bojagi. We call Bojagi. So I want to explain about Bojagi and Jogakbo. And on your left, you can see the quilt. It is called Jogakbo, and it is quilted cloth. And that is my main inspiration. So in the picture, you can you can see the overcoat. So this is overcoat. Some people call dress, but I don't know the difference between dress and overcoat. It is totally different, right?
Yes.
Okay, I call it overcoat. In the picture, you can see the overcoat. I created this in 2017. I think I need to tell you about Hanbok about a little bit to understand this overcoat. Hanbok is an old traditional Korean clothing called Hanbok. And there are many kinds of Hanbok. The overcoat this in the picture is durumagi. And this is one of a kind of hanbok. So this overcoat is for men and women and adult and children. So all people wear this kind of overcoat. And so far, I created 3 pieces of hanbok. One is durumagi on your left, and the others hwarut and kwanbok. Hwarut and kwanbok, they are wedding attire. I can say that durumagi represent individual like me, and the others are symbol of community. They are also represent the ordinary people's desire for social climbing. Originally, only the royal could wear that clothing, like princess and prince. So I want to share the making process of hanbok durumagi. Yeah, this video shows how to quilt with my receipt and Swiffer. You know the Swiffer, the cleaning clothes?
Swifter. Yes.
Swiffer.
Right.
So I just used simple running stitch. So I created like a textile fabric. And then yes, first I make, fabric, quilted fabric, and then I need a pattern to make, hanbok, but I cannot make pattern for making, so I need a help for a professional. So I went to Manhattan and I found a pattern maker, and they helped me to make pattern. And yeah, second, to make a clothing, it is kind of complicated process. So have you guys made a clothing? So you know the process, how to make, you need fabric, you need pattern, and then cut and sew and everything. So it is my first time to create clothing my own. Of course, I studied in college, but I forget about it. And then I create this in 2017, and it was really, really headache for me. Like, this video shows all the process of making of my the hanbok. I made this one durumagi. It takes about 3 months to make, like quilting and cut and sewing. Yeah. All the process and almost done. Yay. It is kind of last process to check. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And so I needed lining in the coat. So it is kind of hard part. So the pattern maker helped me to make lining. So I made outside by myself, but I need help to pattern and making lining from the others. So can you show, Nancy, can you show the presentation, page 7? Yay. Most of the receipts are white, but I want to show the variety of colors on my receipts. I believe that my collection of receipts shows the changes of shopping experience. I have some of handwritten paper receipts, but they are getting rare as the retail structure is changing. My friend Jane Berg, the curator at the Denver Art Museum, described this. As our transactions continue to relocate online, receipts themselves are becoming more and more obsolete. Obsolete?
Obsolete.
Obsolete. Obsolete, like the performative ritual of in-store shopping. So page 8 is, as I told you, that most of the paper receipts that I've collected is white color. It is, the white color, that paper is a thermal paper and coated with a material formulated to change color when exposed to heat. That is how I got black colors receipts. I create a series of American flags in white and black color. I keep creating a series of American flags. I'm still exploring my relationship to the United States and the concept of the American dream as an outsider or stranger. And recently, I start to create hand-stitched pattern, check, plaid. It is crisscross stitches using various colors of satin and cotton thread. So multiple layers create geometric patterns. This is my recent works. I create pattern, create check with hand stitch. So you can see the detail. This is it. I'm done.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Would you mind taking a few questions?
Of course, of course.
That was very inspiring. I just love all of the work. But what do you use as a base for all your receipts? The base fabric or textile or paper or whatever?
That is Swiffer.
Swiffer.
Swiffer. Yes.
But those are just small sheets, so then you sew them together as
Yes.
your base.
Yes.
Okay. So it cleans as it. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
I mean, it is very easy to get, Swiffer, and it is kind of piece of paper, so you can expand as you whatever you want size, you can make bigger what do you want to size. I mean,
you can get a roll of it so that you.
Yes.
You,
Yeah.
I was curious, do you actually put a fluffy thing in between to make it a quilt?
Mm-hmm.
What do you use?
Mm-hmm.
Is it layered?
What do you mean layer?
Like an
How many
American?
layers? Many layers?
How many layers?
Yeah.
It's only paper receipt and Swiffer. So 2 layers.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not understanding how the white, you said there's something on it that turns it to black.
Mm-hmm.
For your flags. How does what makes it turn to black?
Actually, I ironed it.
Iron it.
yeah, the receipt turn black when it meet heat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I got the black color.
So did you mask it somehow so the stars didn't turn? So that they had stars in some of the black stripes. How did you get the stars on there?
I don't understand.
Well, in this, you have stars. You have
Stars? Oh,
Yeah.
star. It is hand stitched thread.
Oh, gotcha.
Mhm.
How long did it take you to make that first garment?
Garment, the overcoat.
Yeah.
It takes about 3 months.
Mm.
It takes really, really long. And I only made 3 pieces of, garment, and it is a hard job. And because I need, pattern for making clothing, and I don't know how to make patterns, so I need someone's help. That is kind of hard to find a right pattern maker. Thank you.
When you put the Swiffer pieces together, do
Mhm.
you stitch them together? Do you butt the edges together, or how do you join them? The Swiffer part.
Super part, like I hand stitch it with paper, receipt, and then I turn over, and then I stitch it again, like the edges.
The edges.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Do you treat the paper, the receipts with anything so that they don't rip?
I don't do anything.
Huh?
It looks like very fragile, but it is kind of strong to, stitching. Yeah, so I don't do anything about that paper. I just keep it as is. Mhm.
I wanted to know, how did you discover that heat turned the receipts dark? I mean, I would have never thought about that. Find that out.
Yeah, I previously I told you about Stephanie, the director at Garage Art Center. She's my friend, and I never thought I can use a color. I just thought I only use paper, receipt as is, like white paper. But she suggests to me that how about using some colors like black or something. So maybe I can use, but I don't want to like paint or something. But accidentally I found out it became black with heat. Basically,
yeah, it's
it is a
thermal
thermal
Yeah.
paper.
That's how
So-
it prints the prices and the things
Right.
in the cash register. It's thermal.
Right.
Oh, but does it erase the letters on it or the numbers when
So
you read it?
yes. So I didn't want to, make black for the first time, because there's a, my memories there. There's a time and there's location, everything. So I don't want to ruin them. But anyway, I want to use black and white. So I make them black.
I just wanted to ask, are all the receipts like that? Meaning, do all the receipts turn black, or it's only certain?
No. Sometimes, so it is that thermal paper is kind of recent technology. So all the time, paper receipt, it doesn't turn black,
Yes, I have a question about the pattern and the pattern maker. Does this pattern have a name, and is it available?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah. You mean the pattern maker's name?
Yes.
Oh, in Manhattan, I think Sky Pattern. They have a office they call Sky Pattern.
Sky pattern.
Yes. So I don't know pattern maker's name, but I know their office name. So one of them helped me to make a pattern.
Thank you.
It's quite expensive service. 500 for one dress, one overcoat is 500.
Hi. Hi, it was wonderful work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm just curious, the traditional Korean garments look, they look life-size. Are they life-size?
Yes.
And have you ever had a show with people wearing them?
No.
Is that a possibility?
No.
No.
It is, yeah, you can wear that, but you know, it is made with paper, so it is kind of fragile.
Fragile, yeah.
Fragile, so
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Okay, because I think there's somebody on here who does that, and with tea bags, Ruby Silvius is on here now, and she's made kimonos with tea bags, and she's had them in a fashion show, and
Oh my God.
it's pretty cool. You might want to think about that. It's very cool. Anyway,
Okay, so
beautiful work. Thank you so much. Very exciting.
Yeah, you guys all know about kimono, you know, Japanese traditional clothing. So Korean traditional clothing is hanbok. Hanbok. So yeah, please remember like kimono and hanbok.
What is the significance of the traditional clothing in Korea?
Significance, sadly, my generation, like I was born in 1975, and my generation abandoned our tradition. I never wear traditional Korean clothing, never. And only, you know, only like holiday, like 1 or 2 times a year, people wear hanbok. And sadly, it's getting like, yeah, Korean people abandoned our tradition. That is very sad about that. Yeah.
But is it the shape? Could you talk about the shapes of it, or is it very much related to Japanese design?
I mean, like, Korean people looks much like Western people. We wear, you know, Western costume, and we don't wear Korean traditional clothing anymore. Like,
I'm asking about the shape of it, and you
shape.
know, the shape of the coat looks very kind of square, and
it looks very it looks like kimono, but details a little bit different.
Was it made to wear clothing underneath?
I think Japanese, I don't know, it looks very similar, but it is different in detail. So I don't know, I cannot explain in detail. It is hard to tell the difference.
A couple of the coats or jackets that you did are similar to kimono or Japanese style jackets and whatnot.
Yes.
There is an American fiber artist named John Marshall, who did a book on pattern making and how to, I don't know if you know his book, but it might be of help to you to get a basic shape. Have you seen that book or?
No.
I'll send you the details.
Oh, of course. Thank you so
It
much.
might
Thank
be
you.
helpful to you.
I have a question now.
Mm-hmm.
So have you done anything with regard to what you left behind? Anything political about your country, or it doesn't have to be political, but like you did the flag, you know, and as you're acclimating here and what your relationship is here.
I'm not that opinionated about political, but I'm thinking it is very important. I mean, for my life, it is very related to political and economic, and but it is hard to understand fully. Like I'm here in America because of globalization. It is all related to politics and economic, but I really want to understand like but it's hard to understand, like, so that's why I keep creating my art to understand the environment around me and politics, me and economic, everything. Yeah, that's why I keep creating art. Think about that.
I understand.
Like my identity as a Asian immigrant in America, it is kind of new identity to me. If I live in Korea, I never thought about that, but I'm in here and I start to think about my position, my status, everything. Yeah, that made me think, and that is kind of my motivation to start my art.
Unfortunately, I did miss your exhibit.
Wow, look at that. You are making clothing.
Oh, yes. Actually, I worked as a pattern maker in the garment.
Oh, really? Where?
I know when you talk about making a pattern, that's what it's all about.
I should know you before.
Okay, well, you know me now. But what I wanted to say is that there was a series on Netflix. It was all Korean. It was in English or subtitled. It was 20 episodes. It was all traditional Korean clothing.
Oh, really?
I watched every single episode.
Oh my God. I never knew that.
So I went and I got right away. I ordered this book. I don't know.
Oh my God.
But Korean traditional clothing, amazing, absolutely amazing. The hats, the men things that the men wear. It's just incredible. And we're exposed to Chinese clothing a lot. I think we don't really see the traditional Korean clothing. And but I was just taken by it. It was just really amazing.
Yeah. Like Korean has very long history, and Korean clothing also has a long history, but I don't, I'm a Korean, but I don't know about anything about that is shame, but yeah,
it's
I need
not too late. You're still young.
Yeah, I need to learn more about that. Yeah, thank you so much for your interest. Thank you so much.
It's a beautiful tradition, the clothing.
When you were in, I'm assuming design school, or did they study Korean clothing, or it was all more Western?
Yes, I studied Korean clothing, but we don't think that is not, we don't think that is important because, you know, Korean right now, Korean system, Korean society, it's became mostly westernized.
Right.
So if I want to get a job, I need to understand like American clothing, American culture, like, yeah,
Right.
because economic. So if I study like Korean clothing, there's no demand.
Right. But it's so interesting because it's come through in your art.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I live in America, so I start to think about my identity. I never thought about my identity as a Korean because I lived in Korea. I never thought about my identity because I didn't have any question about that because I'm Korean.
But your traditions and the form,
yeah,
come through in your art, your fine art form, or your art form. You know, it didn't go away. It just resurfaced in another way.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you're not making Korean clothing, but it's permeated your art form, and it, you know, whether it's a memory and
yes,
you know, a tradition that is very it's fascinating, but it's also part of you. So
yes,
yeah.
like through my art, like I identify me, like myself. I didn't mean to that. I didn't mean to express myself like profoundly, but anyway, I think I showed my thing, myself through my art, like gently, maybe softly.
And also the craft that you studied, you know, so combination of the craft and your tradition, even though, you know, you don't wear these clothes anymore, and you don't sell these clothes. It's there. It really is.
Yeah.
Makes the work very unique.
Thank you so much. I think to make creating art is kind of mysterious process, you know. I start some point with some idea, but I stay somewhere else, like I didn't expect anything, but yeah, that is really mysterious process.
When did you start exhibiting this work here in the US?
I start to showcase my art in 2013, but it was mostly my drawing and painting, but it is not good. I know that it was not interesting at all to anybody. So I start to create my art with my receipt and my everyday material in 2017, and then I start to showcase them in 2017. Yeah.
I just wondered how much your background affects your clothing design, because I would think that there would be a big influence of the Korean aesthetic on at least on your fabric choices and maybe some of your designs. Is that a big factor for you?
Of course, because my job as a fashion designer is very, very important, because, you know, my job is very much related to America. Like in the 80s and 90s, American fashion is really, really hot, and I really want to get that, brand like Calvin Klein jeans, Polo or Guess, everything, but I couldn't afford it, and I was poor. So I really loved American culture, American brand. That's why I became a fashion designer. And so, like, my job, fashion designer, and America is all related. So that is very important to my life. So to live in the America, it is very important opportunity, important memory, important event to my life. So that is very important to me to express my job, express my identity as a fashion designer. So that's why I use, needle and thread and hand stitching, and I making, pattern like plaid pattern and check pattern and everything. Yeah.
I have one, but it's more business than art. I can't imagine how you have the time to get yourself into all these shows. Mm-hmm. and the process of getting awards. I don't know whether you have to write entries or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you have somebody that helps you? You have been everywhere. Just so many shows. How do you get
that is really, really, really hard. I really I'm very, very competitive person. Live in Asia, live in Korea, you have to be very, very competitive. And it is, globalization is kind of another problem. We have to be competitive globally. So I do myself everything, to apply every, open call and send my artwork and everything. It's really, really, really hard job, but I did myself. And I think it's not healthy for me. And 2019, I got panic attack. So I have anxiety disorder. So I'm trying to be away from making art right now. I need to get rest.
I imagine you do.
Yeah, I realize that it's not healthy. I need a time. I don't, and I shouldn't push too much myself. I realize that. Thank you for asking.
Your mom's agree. Lauren, do we have any more questions?
Any other hands raised?
Okay. Well, Donna, I can't thank you enough for how wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Charming you are. We at this point in our, yes, everybody's most appreciative. At this point in our program, we usually show each other what we've been working on. Mm-hmm. I don't know who's prepared to do that today or not, and you're certainly welcome to stay and watch what people have, or you're welcome to take your rest. Well deserved.
Thank you, but I need to go back to work. And
okay.
Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And I'm very, very glad to meet you guys. And thank you so much for your interest about my art. And thank you so much, Nicolette. Yeah. You're speaking about me, your word about me. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, we hope we see you soon again on the East Coast.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.